Welcome to the Art of Simple Hypnosis with Rob de Groof. Rob's goal is to keep hypnosis simple and uncomplicated, fast, powerful, and effective techniques. In this show, Rob talks with leaders of the hypnosis industry on how to keep hypnosis simple and effective on the therapeutic side as well as on the business side. Enjoy, learn, and by all means, keep it simple.
Caryn, welcome to the Art of Simple Hypnosis. So today we're going to talk about how we can keep hypnosis simple, how we achieve good results without overcomplicate hypnosis. So I'm also going to ask you some questions about giving advice to our viewers, and we're also going to discuss a certain topic that we will talk about later. But first, the first question I want to ask you, because everybody makes mistakes, of course, we learn a lot of our mistakes that we make. We always get better. So what was the biggest mistake that you made in your hypnotherapy career, and a mistake that you don't want to make others, or that you don't want others to make?
I would say the biggest mistake that I made is when I started making money, hesitating or resisting hiring, whether it was a VA or some assistance, even if it was some outsourcing, to help me with what I was not skilled at. Because when I think about the amount of hours that I spent trying to do something that someone could have done in a 2-hour time frame and what I was getting paid as a hypnotist or hypnotherapist, to me, that was like my resistance to do that, and my fear over it held me back for probably a few years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know the feeling. One of the things that I want to keep a lot of stuff in my own hands, and now I'm outsourcing more. But the only thing the things that I just like to do, like creating a website, or I know some people can do it faster than me, but I just like to do it. For me, it's sometimes my mind can do something else than the normal job. And editing videos, things like that. But all the rest I'm outsourcing now, and that's something that I should have done much faster. And then but I know I think
I agree. And I think if it's interesting to us and we enjoy it, it's those things that we do not, and it just, we are not focused and not motivated, and it takes us forever. It's just not worth it. Yeah, I agree.
No, you lose a lot of time that you can do other things to grow your business, and So, what is the best decision that you ever made regarding your hypnotherapy business?
The best decision I ever made was to hire coaches, business coaches, and a book coach. I had no idea how to write a book coach, how to publish it, what to do with it. That was the first coach that I hired, the book coach, and that was life-changing for me. And then after the book coach, I had now I have this book, Hypnosis Niche, and I don't know what to do with it. And how do I get it out there? And then hiring a business coach, which I truly will say that, and when I hired her, I thought in my head, okay, this isn't cheap, but I can do in 1 year with my business coach what I know I could accomplish only on my own in 5 years. And is it worth it? Absolutely. That was the best decision. And I truly, at the end of that year, could say I accomplished 5 years of work in my 1 year working with a coach.
And the things that you learned from this coach, is it more the approach about running your business, or taking decisions, or does he or she guide you in a certain direction?
Yes. So she was not a hypnotist or hypnotherapist, but she was skilled or trained in NLP. And it was more about getting my Attitude of a Champion program out there, how to structure the program. And what I needed was, I knew how to teach it to my athletes. I was amazing at it in my office one-on-one, but I wasn't sure how to create a program and an online course around it. And for me, having someone that had done it before and the resources streamlined everything. And also things like streamlining with using Calendly and what kind of software to use and what kind of programs to use. I didn't have any idea. I didn't even know where to start. And my business coach was very instrumental in getting me set up as a business that started creating income, and was more streamlined and just more profitable.
Yeah, so yeah, she had done it before, so you don't have to go through finding out all the different
Mm-hmm.
software, because there's so many things out there. And yeah, I had that thing is the same, especially when this pandemic started. I returned from Australia because at that moment I was teaching in Australia, so I had to come home. I came home to a country that was closed. My business was closed. Everything was down, and I had a lot of trainings planned with a lot of students who already signed and paid for that training. And I didn't had at that time I didn't see myself doing a 7-day training online, and so I didn't have any solution. And then I posted it in a group, and I think it was Jason Lynette who contacted me. He said, Rob, I have an idea for you. And he explained me, he made a video, he explained me how to do the trainings online so that you don't have to be for 7 days online. So like a hybrid training. And I used that system, and it was great. But when I had to come myself with that system, took me maybe like half a year or a year to get it structured. And now he gave me the idea. I had the software already. I had the videotapes of previous trainings already, so I could start working immediately. So that was great. I think that's a very good advice, that sometimes you need somebody outside, and yeah, sometimes preferably not a hypnotherapist, especially when it's more on the business side. So that's a very good advice to grow your business. Yeah.
Yeah, or even, even if it is a hypnotist or hypnotherapist, I've done coaching with Helen and quite a few others, and someone that's just a step ahead of you that can help you with your business or your processes, because there's so much out there that we don't know. I've learned.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. I'm one of the things that I'm doing now a lot is searching new types of software, things that I can integrate in my business, because I'm working with 8 therapists, so there will be a 9th from next week. So it's a lot of organization, a lot of things that you need to do. So the more that you can automate it by using good software, that you don't have to do all those things yourself, or my administration staff have to do it. It takes a lot of pressure off, and then I can use that time to create other stuff and to work on the business, to grow the business. So yeah. So let's talk about keeping hypnosis simple, because that's one of the things that I want to do with this show, to give people advice to keep hypnosis simple, because a lot of the time I see people overcomplicate hypnosis, and I know especially hypnotherapists or coaches who have quite some experience, they have some ideas to keep hypnosis simple. So what is your best advice for our viewers to keep hypnosis simple?
My best advice, and I'll be honest, I think I only started adopting this myself in the last couple of years after doing hypnosis for 15 years, is obviously, we have a lot of hypnotists and hypnotherapists that say don't use scripts. I think scripts in the beginning are key, because we don't know the languaging. We don't know how to say something, or it doesn't come to our mind right away. But what I've learned, and the biggest tip that I would give, is when you are using hypnosis with a client, to allow them to have some space and some time to come up with their own answers, to come up with their own brilliance. Because when we are newer, I feel like we're constantly we're talking. We don't give enough space or time for them to come up with the answers or process it. And recognizing that, if I remember the first time I was hypnotized, and I have a degree in psychology, but I didn't remember really learning about hypnosis. And the first time I was hypnotized was in hypnobirthing. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, that was amazing. And we forget that, I think, with our clients that have never been hypnotized before, and that we get to allow them the experience to feel that theta state. And it's simple, create the time for it, so we're not rushing them through that beautiful process. That's why they came to see us, even though there's so much in between that, right? But just allowing some time to process and to be in that state. And the more I practice meditation, the more I recognize how wonderful that feels.
Yeah, so that they enjoy the state more. That one of the questions that I got a lot is when I do hypnosis, after I finish doing whatever that I'm doing. I have most of the time I follow quite the same outline, and then my students, they always ask me, but you finished, and then you say deeper, 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 and then you go to the extraction. And I said, yeah, that's just to give them some more time to progress whatever is going
Yeah.
on. I just deepen them because,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a bit a contradiction, of course, because I deepen them, and like 1 minute later I'm going to do the extraction. But it's just
Mm-hmm.
to give them that feeling of, and don't rush them out of hypnosis when the process is still going on. So yeah.
Exactly. I've adopted that also is I'm going to give you a few moments to
Mm.
digest everything that we have just gone through and accept these suggestions and images and then give them that space, that time to do that. Yeah.
No, 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 good idea. So, yeah, you're known for working with athletes, of course. So that's also the topic that we're going to discuss today. For me, it's also an interesting topic because I'm working and then creating a special program for golf players at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah, I start playing golf like 1 year and a half.
very
It's
mental.
yeah. I really love it. So no, the thing is, somebody advised me, a hypnotherapist from Dubai. She lives in the UK now. She's from the UK. She lives back in the UK now. But when I was teaching in the UK, she was one of my students, and I had a problem with, on my free days. I didn't have anything to do because I read books, but only when I'm on holiday. Because when I start a non-fiction book, then I want to finish the non-fiction book, and I can't do it on 1 day. So I had my Mondays off. So I was looking for something that to do, and she said, yeah, go and play golf. It's so good to clear your mind. You're like 4 hours on the course. So I took up golf, and I love it. But of course, I got really interested in the mental game of golf, and working with golf players. I saw some golf players before I took up golf, but now I'm even more interested. So I'm working with golf players. I'm creating special programs for them. So this topic is of course really something for me. But can you tell me first how you get involved in working with athletes? So you start doing hypnotherapy. Was it the first thing that you said, I'm going to work for 100 or most of my time with athletes? So how did you came to that?
I came to it because it was in my life. I had married a collegiate athlete who was a wrestler, and then we had three boys that were high level elite. In fact, I still have one in high school wrestlers. And when I started getting into hypnosis because I had used hypnobirthing, which I didn't have any idea about hypnosis until I used hypnobirthing. And I was like, wow, that really works. So I started teaching hypnobirthing as a practitioner, became certified. And then after that, that rolled into being a hypnotherapist because I recognized the power of it. And if you can have a baby without saying a word or tightening your muscles, then there's something to hypnosis, right? So when I became certified as a hypnotist or hypnotherapist, my husband had said to me, I used hypnosis when I was in college. And I don't remember much about it, except I got a cassette tape that I listened to at night, and it really helped. Now that's aging us. I know, you know, aging me. Um, and so he said, I'll help you write a few scripts based on the languaging around, mental toughness and mindset, because he had known it all as a collegiate wrestler. And so that's kind of how I started. And then I had some good friends that had athletes that were in clubs, higher level athletes. And they sent their children, and then they referred more. And I became known as the expert in sports hypnosis in the area. And then, like I said, it was mostly referrals, because when they see the difference it makes in the mindset training, because we all know that sports are 90% mental and 10% physical. I truly believe that. It's all what's going on in here. That little tweak of that mental edge, that mental toughness, changes the way that they perform, changes the way that they play. And so it was pretty easy once I started getting them in. It was just referral after referral. Mm-hmm.
So and then yeah, you kept going on that. So you see other clients for other issues as well, or
I
not that
do.
much? Yeah, you do.
I do. And mostly because I would say almost every athlete. I tend to focus on more the eighth grade through collegiate level as opposed to the professional, because that's what, I guess that's just what the universe had brought to me, and that's what I work with.
Mm.
But I do, when I work with high school and younger ones in the club level, I have the parents in for the beginning of the first session when I talk about the pre-talk and
Mm.
what I'm going to talk to you about, that mental edge and how to get it.
Mm.
And honestly, I would say with every parent that I have sitting in that chair with their athlete, I get 2 or 3 referrals for weight loss and smoking and
Yeah.
anxiety and, you know, all those other things, because they recognize that, wow, hypnosis is real and she's kind of normal. And I think we should try it. So I see everyone for everything because my referrals for hypnosis are so broad. Mhm.
Yeah, of course, because when they see the results with the athlete, and of course they are just regular families with all their issues going on, and then they say, oh yeah, I want to lose some weight, let's go to her, and okay.
Exactly.
So but you're talking about referrals. That's one of, I don't know how it is in the US, but here in Europe, especially when you work with professional athletes, one of the biggest problems here is that it's very hard to get referrals with athletes. The athletes that I'm working with, they don't want to do a testimonial. They don't want. Nobody can know that they see a hypnotherapist.
Mhm.
I have a good friend and colleague in the Netherlands. We're teaching a hypnosport training also together, and he has the same problem. He's working with some top athletes, very known athletes. I also have some quite known athletes, but I can't mention their names because they don't want anything. They don't want it out there that they used hypnotherapy to become better. So is it the same in the US, or is it because you I have the referrals that I have are with teenagers, so more like students who are they are not that and sometimes with like soccer players, they don't want to tell it on the outside, but they tell it in the team. So sometimes I get referrals from that, but especially
Yes.
not with individual athletes, never.
I have to agree. If I get the video testimonials, it is with the younger athletes. The collegiate athletes don't seem to have much of a problem with it. I think they want to get out there.
No.
But yes, I have worked with professionals and they are not comfortable doing a video. They will refer, you know, their teammates, they'll talk to their coaches about it.
No.
But the testimonials for the professionals, I have to wonder if it's something like they're so very cautious about being accused of cheating, you know, like whether they're using steroids or drugs or whatever. And some people may think that because hypnosis is so obsolete and obscure for some people that they don't want that stigma possibly. But I have to agree. I have the same challenge. I don't have any video testimonials of pros or professionals.
No, I once had it was more like a pre-talk for a television program, and they wanted to do something about working with the brain. It was like different episodes about the brain and what you can do with the brain, and they asked for athletes, and I said, yeah, I have some, but I contacted them all, and nobody wanted to come on television to talk about it. So it was like, yeah, so yeah, they are. But I think it's one of the things that you mentioned is they don't want the world to know that they needed something, whether it is, yeah, of course, not
Right.
something that's illegal, but hypnosis is not illegal, but they don't want the world to know that they
Yeah.
need something to become at that level or to become better. So they
Yeah.
all want to say, oh, I did it on my own. But,
Yeah.
so that's
And possibly, you know, like many years ago, people wouldn't tell you they were going to a therapist or a psychologist. And now it's becoming more mainstream and people will talk about it more. So maybe in the future, Rob, we have some chance that'll become more mainstream and they'll be more open to it.
Yeah, the thing that what we see now here in Belgium, there are more like soccer clubs, and the soccer is the most popular sport here. So that's those clubs, they come in the media, and they start, not all of them, but they start hiring mental coaches, and like 5 years ago there was in that world a mental coach. They would say, oh, they're all sissies. They need a mental coach, and now it's one trainer introduced it, and now more clubs are hiring mental
Oh, yeah.
coaches. I hear some cyclists also, they have a mental coach. So that's we're going
Yeah.
in a way that they now talk about that. And like you said, 90% of success is in the mind. Yeah, I see so many in all different sports. They know what they are doing, but most of the time, the one who is at the best mental attitude, he will be the champion. So that's
Oh, yeah. It makes a big
so
difference.
important.
Yeah.
So you wanted to give our viewers some advice on how that you approach athletes. So like 5 simple tools to achieve the mental edge.
So yes, I wanted to give the 5 mental tools. And as a lot of you know, I use a book. I used a book to create my Attitude of a Champion program that I teach. And that's the online course that I teach with mentoring and coaching, and how to get athletes into your doors and how to have 4 successful sessions with your athletes and then get the referrals. And one of the first things that I do in the program, and when I work with athletes personally, is I have them in, and we all know the value of a pre-talk, right? So I have them in for the pre-talk. And the pre-talk, I believe, is just as effective as hypnosis. In fact, in my first session with athletes, I don't even do hypnosis, because we're busy writing affirmations and talking about, how the mind works. And so one of the things that I do is after the pre-talk and talk about what is hypnosis and how does it feel, and all those fun things that we do. I talk about what are the 5 tools that I'm going to teach you in our next 4 sessions in order for you to get the mental training that you need to be the champion that and we know that's inside of you. It's that extra mental edge that, if, let's say, you're a swimmer, the athlete that has the mental edge, because we all know that winning a race is fractions of a second. And as you know, golfing is like 1 stroke. I mean, it's that mental edge, right, that can get you to be the champion or be second or third. And so the 5 mental tools are: mental log keeping is the first one, and I'll explain these in a moment. Effective goal setting, positive self-talk and affirmations, relaxation techniques, i.e. hypnosis, and guided imagery and visualization. So the first one, mental log keeping, is really, it's what you say to yourself about your past and your past performances. So what is your head saying? Is it repeating the last time that you lost the game, the last time you missed the basket? Is it repeating the last time that you said to yourself, man, that really sucked? Or are you able to stop that and not log keep that one, but log keep the future, the new blueprint in your mind? And so that log keeping is very important in paying attention. And I explain how in our sessions we'll reprogram your mind to replay the positive instead of the negative, because we have a tendency to do that, right? And then effective goal setting. We all know if you don't set goals, you won't reach goals. I mean, anyone successful in anything, including business, knows that we set goals. And you would be surprised at the collegiate and high school athletes that have never set goals. They just like most people do, I think, on this earth, is just live day to day. And this is just my world. And I'm walking from day to day, and I'm going to blindly see what happens if we don't set goals. So that is one of the first things that we do in that first session, is set goals. Third one is the self-talk and affirmations, how important that is. Always positive present tense. Be aware of the talk that you're saying in your head. That inner roommate, like I explained, the inner mean girl, the inner mean guy. Oh my gosh, you missed it again. Why do I always slice the ball? I find myself when I'm playing golf, right? Is I'll hit it and I'll be like, oh, I sliced it again. And I'm like, stop, I got this. It's going right where I expected. So, the self-talk, like what goes on in your head, and being very aware of it. And then also writing the statements. Like I always ask, what do you hear from coaches or teammates or even parents, if they're younger, say to you all the time? And it's typically something like, don't get nervous, or don't keep your head down. Or so we want to change that up to, when I step on the court, I'm positive, or when I step on the court, I get in the zone, and I always keep my head up. I always make the basket. So we'll write those affirmations. So that's one of the big mental training tips that I will give them. The fourth one is relaxation techniques. And like I tell them, guided or relaxation techniques are effective, more effective, your goals, your statements, your visualizations in a relaxed state, right? Our conscious mind is relaxed. Our subconscious mind is more accepting of what we're placing into it, just like people that meditate. And so I explain that by the fourth session or third session, I will teach them self-hypnosis so they can learn how to get into a relaxed state and then use their visualizations. But I always explain I don't want to do it quite yet because I want you to feel it and know the state before you practice getting into it. So that's kind of what I use for my procedure. And then fifthly, the last thing is the guided imagery and visualizations. Now, I know a lot of elite coaches, the better coaches, use visualization and guided imagery with their teams. They actually do team exercises, which is pretty impressive. So we'll talk about visualizing what your perfect game looks like, visualizing your perfect stroke. The mind always reacts, or the body always reacts to the mind, right? It's that robot theory that we learn about when we learn hypnosis. And that when you are in a state of being in your zone, if your blueprint is the way that it's supposed to be, the way you want it to be, you're going to get in the zone and then your body's going to move by instinct because that's what happens. Our body reacts to what's going on in our head. And so mental imagery, seeing what that perfect game looks like, seeing what that perfect stroke looks like or event, that is key to getting your body to create and do what your mind wants you to do. So those are the 5 mental tools. And I always tell them, when you master these tools, remember that training requires a commitment, just like it does in your physical world to your mental world, because we like to snap back, right? And so training your mind is as important as training your body. Now, here's the great thing is in the last session, I always remind them, when you switch seasons or next year or any big milestone that you want to reach, come back and see me. We don't have to necessarily go through the whole 4-session process. We've already done that, but 1 or 2 sessions will help to, A, I can remake your recording with new goals, new affirmations, and B, I can help remind you those tools and techniques that you get to practice for life to make you successful. And that's what gets, to your peak performance is those 5 tools. And that's what we will be working on through our next 4 sessions. So, yeah.
So your session, it's a 4-session program. So is there a specific time set that you use, or is it 1 session a week or 1 session a month, or is it?
Yep. I typically do 1 session a week. I sell it as a month-long program. And then obviously if you miss a week because my schedule doesn't work out or theirs doesn't work out. So I always encourage them to set all 4 sessions in the beginning so that they get the time frame that they would like. But yeah, it's about a month-long program. And then I'm always on the emails afterwards. And I would say at least 50% of my athletes will come back for the next season or the next year for another couple sessions. And that reminds them about me. And then they do more referrals. And so it really is an amazing way to get clients in your doors in a pretty simple way.
Yeah, that's one of the things that when I started my hypnotherapy business here, we only worked with 1 session. It was a bit like our promotion thing. It was like we can fix it in 1 session, because most of the hypnotherapists in Belgium, even for stop smoking, there were like 5 sessions. We still do stop smoking 1 session. I don't see much plan to do stop smoking in multi-session, but now we are creating programs like virtual gastric band. We have I'm creating a hypno fasting program now. I'm testing it on myself. I already lost like 3 kilograms. I'm really happy. So yeah, I'm the guinea pig for this program. Normally I work with other people. So my hypnotic breast enlargement is a multi-session program.
Are you practicing that one too?
Not on myself. No. No, but the thing, what I like, and that's what you explained as well. What I like about those multi-session programs is that you see your clients, you build like a relationship with your clients. You get more feedback because you see them next week and the week later, and or whatever time frame the program is in. But then you build that relationship, and you get, of course, more referrals because you have that better relationship with your clients. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you, you already mentioned it, that of course you can create a very fabulous program, very good program, but still the athlete has to do the work. Of course, they had to do the exercise, the visualization, when they just don't do anything. What I experienced with the difference with working with the the general issues like weight loss or whatever, sometimes also they have to do the work, listening to recordings or writing things down. And then you have the athletes. But what I see always is that most 90% of the athletes, they will do the work. And not even maybe like 50% of your weight loss clients will do the work, because a lot of them, they just think, oh, the hypnotist will do it. I just pay the hypnotist and I will lose weight. But yeah, that's magic. That's something else. That's not what we're doing, of course. But when I have athletes, they just do the work because they're used to do the training, especially an athlete. But most, I think, the athletes who make the decision of seeing a hypnotherapist, they want to go somewhere, so they will do the work. And that's one of the big difference that I experience with working with athletes.
I have to agree. In fact, I'm even surprised when I see like seventh graders and eighth graders, and I give them tasks between sessions is to read their affirmations and use their trigger. And one of the first things I do is review with them. And like you, I'm always shocked. Like seventh graders and eighth graders that don't want to do their homework, they'll be like, oh yeah, I did that every day. And you ask them, or I'll say, what is your trigger statement? And they'll be like, every time I go to the bathroom, I say, I'm a great basketball player. I'm like you're doing it. So I have to agree. They actually do it. And I do tell them, if you don't want to do the work, it's not going to work, because I am not magic. Hypnosis is magic, but I can only teach you how to do it. Your mind is magic. But I have to agree, they are great to work with. And the other thing that I love is that there's not a lot of emotional stuff going on, because we all know that when we have clients that have a lot of emotions, or reframing emotions, or what did you learn from it? It's an exhausting day when we have, 5, 6 clients in that day. But when I work with athletes all day long, let's say I have like 5 or 6 athletes for the day, it's like bing, bing, bing. It's so easy. And I skip out of there.
Yeah, they come in with a different attitude. They come in from a positive mindset. They want to go somewhere. And the other clients, sometimes they come in from the negative mindset, and they have I had this problem for many years and I don't know, and I see so many therapists. And then you say, oh, but then you have to do that. And then, but I'm not sure. And an athlete, he comes in and they want to go somewhere. They have a goal, and that's more, the vibes are more positive in a therapy room. That's one of the things that I'm most of the time when I still do sessions myself, it's with athletes or when I'm creating new programs.
Yeah, you're right. It's almost like we get to skip that whole first 3 sessions of reprogramming their mind, because they already know how to do that. We're just teaching them mental training techniques. It is. It's like, they're my favorite clients. I'm like, oh, I got an athlete today. Yay, that's easy. Or a few athletes,
Okay. One of the other things that I want to discuss, one of the things that you mentioned, is the goal setting. One of the first things that when I do a presentation about working with athletes, one of the first things that I teach my students or the attendees is always, I don't know if you have the same saying I know it's an old Irish proverb, but we use it in our language as well. You can't make a racehorse out of a donkey. And so
you say that now. You say that.
Yeah, I say that to my clients as well. So sometimes sometimes, especially like let's give the example of golf players. Sometimes you have those guys, they come in and they don't say it, but sometimes you feel that they just want to become the next Tiger Woods. But of course, it's not possible when you don't have when you're not a professional athlete. First, they are weekend golfers. They play like once a week or twice a month or something. They don't want to put in the effort to do all the trainings, be like 2 hours a day on the driving range, go to the gym, whatever. But they want the same result. And then sometimes, I just say them, and I'm quite, especially when I have a good connection with the client, I just say, you can't make a racehorse out of a donkey. And then they level back, they go back to the goal setting. So what is your approach when you have like an athlete and you feel that the goal that he's setting is way too high?
I
Or
love
the other
that.
side, maybe sometimes way too low. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to use that. I had an athlete that was a bags player. Like the game that you play like outside the the yard game, bags, where you
No,
throw the
no.
bag into the
Oh
holes.
yeah. I saw it. Yeah. I don't think we have it here a lot in
Okay.
Europe, but I saw it on television. Yeah.
This was like an Olympic sport or something. I mean, and so he wanted to be really good at it.
Hmm?
But like you said, he was kind of newer, and yeah, I had that same experience. I wish I would have had that phrase, because I still would have used that. So what do I do with them? I think I hit more on when that type of thing happens. I remind them that it's not about being the best as much as being your best. It's more about taking your self-doubt about what can I do and create it more into self-belief. And we know that as competition gets closer, the self-doubt starts to creep in. And when we can change the self-doubt to belief, it changes, again, our body is looser when we believe in ourselves. That, we're lighter, we're happier. When we're stressed or worried, or we are creating stories in our head, we're more tense and we don't perform as well. So that I use, I help them with that. It's more about getting to be the best that you can be, as opposed to. And then in part of my sessions in that program, I do work with what happens if you don't reach your goals. And I know this mostly because I have elite athletes as sons. And I have told them many times, like, this is your year. I know you can do it this year. And then possibly they didn't win state. Like my youngest son, he got third one year instead of first. And it was a blow to him. So I started to learn how to work with athletes when we set goals and we don't reach them. How do we reframe that? Because the last thing we want to do is carry that into the next season or carry that into the next time that we perform. And so, some like erasing techniques or resetting techniques helps them. And so I do that even as part of my protocol, so that if they don't reach their goals, they know that it's not a failure. They're learning from it and how to reset and reprogram and get back to that state that will make them be that champion that they can be, but haven't quite reached yet.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because of course there is reaching a goal, there's so many external factors that can influence that as well. So the athlete can have done what he has to do, or she has to do. The therapy sessions were okay, but some external factors can influence that. And of course, when they're prepared, that there is a chance that they can't reach the goal, and they know how to go on and go to the next season without taking the negative with them. It will help them, of course. That's
exactly the uncontrollables. And we talk about that. There are always uncontrollables in our lives, in anything, including in sports.
So do you have a different approach when you work with individual sports people and team sports people? Because like a soccer player or a basketball player, because of course when you're in a team, you can have a bad day and still win the match. When you're an individual player and you have a bad day, you're probably not going to win the game or whatever that you're doing. So is there a different approach that you use, or?
I use very similar approaches to all 4 sessions. I know that the athletes that really want to perform, it doesn't matter if they're on a team or individual, they still take everything personally. It's still about them and the way that they played. I do find with sports or the teams that are not individuals, more like a basketball and a soccer, and they tend to have more of, I want more playing time. I want to be more of a team player. I want to be more integral on the team. And we work a little bit more with that than the individual sports. And I would say I'm probably an expert more even on the individual sports, because wrestling and swimming, which were 2 of my big ones, are individual sports. And, I'll be honest, the individual sports, golf, swimming, wrestling, track, those are more, I believe, more of a mental game. I believe that you have to be more on top of your game in order to reach your goals, because
you can't hide yourself when you're
there's no one supporting you when you make a bad move. Like it is you and is all you. So I tend to work with them a little differently, I guess, because I feel like they have more pressure.
Mm.
on themselves. They put more pressure on themselves because it's all them.
Mm.
So,
So
yeah.
do you work sometimes with entire
Mhm.
teams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
No. Like a
You
group
know, to be
session
honest,
or
it's a very similar process. When I started to get teams into my office or athletes into my office, which I don't even have to do this anymore because I have so many referrals, but I would go and talk to teams, and I do a free team talk.
Mm.
And that's part of my online course, exactly what to say, all of the slides, how to say it, exactly how I do it. I don't talk hypnosis. I talk mental training, visualization, and relaxation because we don't want anyone freaking out they're getting hypnotized. I obviously do an experiential, so they get to feel the
Mm.
relaxation. They got to do a visualization. So I will talk them through like your perfect basketball game. And I have scripts for, all the different sports. So I will do the team talks. And then I have had quite a few coaches that after the free team talk, which is about a half an hour, and I just give them a little overview of what I will do in the office. That's how I get my clients in. They will ask me to come back then and do mental training for the team. And I can charge hundreds of dollars for it. And then I will go through a more individualized program for about 3 sessions, probably with the team. I usually schedule them after their practice,
Mm.
after a club practice or a collegiate practice. And we'll do like 45-minute sessions. And it's a very similar program of just mental training, mental toughness, how to change, your self-talk, how to thought stop when you recognize that thought is coming in, like, I don't want to practice today. Stop. It makes me a better athlete, whatever that is. So yes, I do team also, and very similar process. Mhm.
Okay, great. So one of the things that I know that's really a strong technique is visualization. Of course, I
Mhm.
use it a lot. In the beginning, I was not so into visualization for the same problem as what my question is, because I know that a lot of sometimes mostly guys, they say, oh, but I can't visualize, I can't see things, I can't do this. And I was, in the beginning, I was a bit like the same. Oh, I don't see it because I have a very good imagination, but I can't see real images. So now I approach them totally different, and I teach them how to use their mind to visualize. Do you have the same feedback sometimes from the, when you say, oh, let's do a visualization exercise, that people say, oh, but I can't visualize, I can't see things?
Not really. And I think it's probably because of the structure and the protocol
Mm.
that I use.
Yeah.
So in that first session, when I don't do hypnosis, I will, as we're writing their statements and as I am creating what their script will be, I will put them into, and I tell them this, it's a relaxation state,
Mm.
not hypnosis. We're going to do relaxation for this first session. It's only going to take a few minutes. I'll get them into the relaxed state. And then I will actually have them tell me, I'll get them started. What does your perfect game look like? So I'll say, you're stretching, you're ready for your game, you're mentally, physically, emotionally ready for the best game of your life. Your teammates are with you. You know what gym you're in. You can hear the crowd getting excited. So I'll get them started, right?
Mm.
And then I will say, and you step onto the court, and now tell me, what does your perfect game look like? What techniques are you using? Who is around you? What happens in your perfect game? And how does that perfect game end? And they will tell me exactly what it is. And I'm writing that down because I want to use that for their scripts in the future because it's their languaging.
Mm.
And I get them started that way because they can see it. They just, I have to agree, I'm not a very visual person. But when you walk it through them that way, they recognize, oh, I guess I can, because
Yeah.
my question always for them is, no, when you were telling me that, did you see words come across your head and your screen, or did you see the picture of you doing it? They're like, I saw the picture of me playing the
Yeah,
game.
now you know you have a visual person,
There you
or you
go.
have
Hmm.
So yeah, you actually, because when I remember correctly, the visualization is only like in your fourth session. So when they have done all the other work, they are ready to know what you're meaning when you say visualize this, and yeah. So because you use it also in the other sessions without mentioning it, well, let's do some visualization. Yeah. So
Yeah. So that's just
so
the first session. And then with
yeah.
the second session, I do more of a hypnosis and I
Mm.
record it for them to have
Mm.
using, what their perfect game looks like and their strategies.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I don't really. And then You know what I do actually? I do have them, even after that first session, I tell them just take a few minutes, get yourself relaxed, just like we did here in the chair. Get yourself relaxed and visualize that perfect game, exactly like we went through it. It takes 2 seconds. Your subconscious works faster than your mind, faster than your mouth. So it literally takes 2 minutes, but between now and then, just once a day, get yourself relaxed, visualize that perfect game. It'll take you 2 minutes, and then we'll talk more next week.
Yeah. So yeah, they're conditioning their mind and their system. So yeah, the moment they really have to use it, they are ready for it. Of course. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So I had another question in mind, and now it skipped my mind. I was thinking I have to ask that question, but now it skipped my mind. So let's talk about something else first. So so yeah, you mentioned your training already. So how can people reach you? How can people find you? Where can they find you if they're interested in working with you in doing your online training? So make some promotion.
Okay, so I'm actually recreating my course because, and it will be available. I'm going to offer it, launch it the beginning of April. So a few months yet. I'm creating the webinar right now, and it's a 4-month course. And the reason I'm restructuring it is because I used to see athletes for 3 sessions, and I recognize that in the 3rd session, I'm teaching them self-hypnosis and new techniques. And that 4th session is so powerful for reinforcement for them. So I got to restructure my manual. And so I just rewrote my new manual. I'm writing a book for coaches off of the manual to put on Amazon. And then I will be launching the course. And so the webinar will be available probably in the next month or so. Actually, beginning of February, I'll be offering a webinar. So keep an eye out for the webinar. And then after that, I'll launch the course in April so that we can do, because I do group training and personal coaching through it. So we could do all that. There's modules in the course, and it's a 4-month-long course. And so you can find the information at Caryn Bird, CarynBird.com. And I have more information on it, how to sign up for the webinar. And you can always give me a call, contact me. My email's there. If you have any questions, we can talk about it now. I actually already have for the course in April, 3 or 4 signed up for it. So I'm going to do two courses, one for the newer hypnotist and hypnotherapist, because what I found is that when I combine the newer ones and the experienced ones are not getting they're not getting as much because the newer ones are learning more and it's a newer. So I'm going to do 2 different tiers of it, one for the newer and one for the more experienced, still focusing on working with athletes. But yeah, so I have like 3 or 4 signed up for April. So I'm already in the enrollment process if anyone is interested in talking about it now, but more information will be on my webinar next month.
Okay, so I will put all the links and also to your social media and so in the show notes so people can reach you, can follow you, and then they can sign up for the training once it now or the moment it is ready, of course. So my next question was actually about what is in the pipeline, but you already told us that you're working on the new training, that you're writing a book, that you so the book it's for sport coaches that.
Yep.
That's the audience. Yeah.
So what I have, and when I first started the course, is I wrote this manual. It's called Attitude of a Champion, Mindset Training Guide. And I decided to rewrite it for coaches, taking out like hypnosis and scripts, but how to work with your athletes on mental toughness. And that way I can refer coaches to it and have them purchase the book. So when I work with their team, they have more material and also to get out there. So yeah, so I rewrote it for coaches also so that they can just have the material, because I believe it's so important. I see so many coaches that unfortunately, I feel like they're hurting their teams more than helping them because they don't know how to be positive and to encourage, and it's more like the yelling and the negative. So my hope is that that'll help athletes.
I think that's also a bit the old culture of the coach who has to force the athletes into or to make them hard and to give them hard trainings and yeah, most of the time out from the negative way. And I think that's a culture that's changing. More and more coaches are also into reading books about the mental game, and then they yeah. So I think that's a very good idea to because yeah, now the step for a sport coach is a bit too big, because now he has to follow a hypnotherapy training. And when you create a book, especially for
Yes.
them, they just have to purchase the book, and then without becoming the hypnotist, they can get
Mhm.
valuable information that they can use with their team. So I think that's
Yeah.
there's a market for it, and that yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of people will have interested in a book like that. So
Yeah. And then anyone that trains under me becomes a performance mindset coach themselves. And I can refer out anywhere, around the world. I've already trained, I think 20. So the more, that take the course and become, get that certification, I can refer coaches to them
mm.
around the world with the books. So pretty excited about that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're a busy bee. You know what to do, and creating new stuff. I know the feeling. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
great.
I did want to mention, one of the big reasons that I'm doing this, and I've recognized I'm really been doing a lot of searching and what is my why and why do I want to do this? And
Mm,
one of the big reasons is because my son, who was an elite athlete and a national champion on the future Olympians list, traveled around the world to the Ukraine, state champion. He recently passed away in a
mm,
motorcycle accident.
yeah.
And when I think about, and I remember this when he was alive, because I would ask him so many times, what makes you so amazing? Like, I know that we were great parents, but seriously, like, how did you get that confidence? So every time he stepped on the mat, I don't even care if it was a national tournament, I knew he was going to win.
Mm,
Like, I wasn't even worried about it. And so he was very instrumental in me learning what does it take to have that mental toughness. And since he's passed away, I am just more and more, I really want to get out there and get coaches and athletes to realize how powerful it is to have that mental strength.
mm.
And it changes their entire game. And the more that I can teach other hypnotists and hypnotherapists how to do it, the more athletes we can reach.
Yeah,
And
of
so
course.
it's kind of like one of my legacy for him is I get to teach what you taught me to the
Mm,
rest of the world.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very good goal, and a very good thing to honor him, actually. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good thing,
Yeah.
that you do
Yeah.
things like that, because
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you said, the more people that are out there. That when I started teaching in Belgium, a lot of people said, yeah, you're going to create your own competition in a very small country, as I explained to you before we start the interview. But that's not true, because
Mhm.
the more students are out there using the same techniques as I'm using, and a lot of them have very good sessions, very high success rate. The more people get in touch with hypnosis, the more people talk about hypnosis, and the more people are going to give hypnosis a chance to get rid of an issue or to reach a goal. So it will help my business as well, because I started on my own, and the moment I start teaching, and now I have like 9 therapists working for me. The ninth
Mhm.
one is going to start next week. So that it's, yeah, it's
Yeah.
even when I have a lot, even in my own hometown are 3 of my students working now, but
Yeah.
that doesn't affect my business, because
No.
just more people are talking about it. And
Yeah.
that's what you're doing as well. The more coaches are out there, the more athletes can be helped, the more athletes will refer other athletes, and the bigger the market grows. So I
Yeah.
think that's a
Yeah.
very good plan.
Yeah. And I wanted to mention what I love, what you've done, Rob, and I have taken advantage of it myself, and I love it, is the videos that you've created and
Mm,
offered to the rest of us as hypnotists and hypnotherapists are so instrumental. And it has been amazing for me. Like, I love to use it. I have it on my YouTube channel,
mm.
and you create it specifically for us. So I want to thank you for doing that for our world. And it's such a simple way of us not having to go out there and recreate them ourselves. But what you have created for us, I just want to say thank you and shout out to you about, the way that you've given back to
Yeah.
our profession too.
Yeah, that's something that I really like. One of the things that I never will give out of hand is the creation of videos, because my very first when I started high school, so when I ended college, I signed up for a movie direction school. So I
Oh,
never finished it because I saw in myself the next Steven Spielberg, but then at the school I realized that I was not going to be, because so I went into theater. I had my own entertainment business and things like that. But that video making is still in my fingers, and I still want to do it. So that's something that I do like a side thing. And
mhm.
then I said, oh, maybe I can just create the videos and give it out to some hypnotists that
Yeah,
can use
I
it.
love it. That
And that's
explains it because I'm like, how does Rob do this? Does he like have a like right hand man that does this for him? But
no,
that's
I
your
do it
expertise. I love
myself. I
it.
do it myself. But I really
Yeah.
love, I really love it. So I just had someone into, because my training in my training room is also, I have a green key studio in my training room. But
Hmm.
now, because I can't do trainings due to the pandemic for probably another 6 months, so I decided to put some more lights to make it even more professional. Because now I can have it there for like 6 months, or
Yeah.
the worst case scenario even longer. And other
Hmm.
times I have to have a minimal setup, so because I have to take it away every weekend because we have trainings. But now I'm expanding, even so make it even more professional, so I can make more videos and things like that. So yeah,
I love
that's
it.
what I really like. So okay, Caryn, thank you very much
Great.
for this interview.
Thank
We had
you.
a very good chat, a lot of information about working with athletes. I'm quite sure, especially the ones. Oh, I remember my question. The question that I wanted
Okay.
to ask. I just wanted to, and now I remember the question. When I'm teaching sports hypnosis to my students, one of the questions that I have a lot, and I mentioned that it's not true, but one of the things that I've experienced, that a lot of hypnotherapists are afraid of working with sports people. They say, yeah, but I don't know anything about golf. I
Mm,
don't know anything about wrestling. I don't know anything about wrestling. But I work with like taekwondo
yeah.
fighters, or how do you call them? I don't know anything about taekwondo, but they just explain me,
Yes.
hey, this is what I'm doing. And I ask you, okay, tell me what you're doing and what you want to change. and
Yes.
and I think, yeah, you probably don't know and some about some sports, of course, but not about
Yeah.
all the sports that you're
Yeah.
working with. So I think that's maybe something that we can talk about.
I agree. So I saw an MMA fighter a couple
Mm.
months ago, and I'm like not a fighter. I mean, wrestling because my kids wrestled, but that's like as far as I go. And I thought to myself, what the heck? Like, I'm going to be telling this guy to like knock him out, you know? But, and I didn't know the last thing about MMA. But seriously, before each session, I don't know, like lacrosse. I didn't know anything about lacrosse. And I saw a
No.
lacrosse player. I was like, oh,
Mm.
lacrosse. Literally, like you can Google affirmations for lacrosse, and then you kind of sound like you know what you're doing, but they're the experts in their sport.
Mm.
They know the languaging, they know that they want to do. You are actually the one that's teaching them how to manage their mind. And you don't have to know how to be, you don't have to be an athlete yourself. You don't know how you have to talk their language because they'll tell you what they want. And then you just help them manage their mind. It's really, you don't have, like you said, you don't have to be an expert in it. You don't
No,
even have
and
to have been an athlete yourself
no,
to know how to
no,
work with them.
no, no,
I've never
and I
smoked in my life and I work with smokers.
no, no. I
Yeah.
smoked for 10 years, so
So you work with smokers.
I work with
I do
smokers.
too, but
No,
I still
but
never smoked.
a lot of my students, they never smoked, and they have or my therapists, they have great success with smokers. So
Exactly.
that's a very good example, of course.
Yeah.
You don't, and I think you can't know anything, all the details about all the sports. So, and there's so many different sports, even in the
Mhm.
US, more than here. I don't heard the name lacrosse already in television shows in the US, but I don't know what it's about. I don't know anything about that. But
Yes.
even, yeah, there can enter a lacrosse player in my therapy room, and I can work with him because
Yes.
I, as you said, they are the experts. And
Mhm.
I even think it's when you want to pretend that you know a lot about the sport, they will see through you. So I think it's better just to
Yeah.
say, I don't know much, like I did with the taekwondo fighters, or I worked with I know a bit about snooker and things like that. So some sports I know from television, or I
Yeah.
played it a bit myself. But yeah, so I
Mhm.
think it's better that you just say, yeah, just explain me what you're doing, what you want, what you want instead. Tell
Mhm.
me, give me some terms that you use, and then you can use it in your
Yeah.
sessions or your recordings or whatever. I think that's but I feel it a lot in the mind of my students or other hypnotherapists. They say, oh no, I don't work with sports playback, I don't know anything about sports. You don't know, you don't need to.
No, you don't.
No.
You don't. No.
Okay.
And if anyone that's watching that doesn't know anything about sports, I will teach you everything you need to learn about sports
Yeah.
in 4 months. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's all
let me
you need.
know.
No, no, no. Okay, so thank you very much,
Thank
and
you.
I hope to see you soon somewhere in the world,
Me
in
too.
real person. I love these Zoom calls, and I'm really happy we can do things like this, especially now. But I'm really looking forward to go somewhere and be together with the
Hug.
entire family, and oh yeah,
Yes.
give a good hug, and
Yes.
yeah, drink something at the bar and whatever.
Yes.
So really looking forward to that. So okay, thank you
All
very
right. Thank you for having me. It
much.
was fun.
Okay.